So we're going to think now about stone and about plaster. Already quite friable. So especially as you can see with plaster that's already coming off on my hands, you need to wear vinyl or nitrile gloves to protect yourself, protect the object. I mentioned before about marble tabletops, but again, just a reminder that they should be carried vertically on their sides rather than horizontally and flat. And as with the composition frames for artworks, plaster can become very soft when it's wet, so you want to limit any handling because you're far more likely to make impressions or depressions with your hands when moving it, and therefore that might affect the integrity of the object. Stone can be really, really heavy. Even a small piece like this is quite heavy, so you probably need to have multiple people possibly to help move things and lift things. You probably need to use pallet trucks and trolleys, barrows, you know, just different moving things just to keep yourself safe as well as the object safe. And if there are any metal fixings, particularly on architectural bits of stone, I don't think we've got any on this, but if they become wet, then they can corrode, and then the corrosion can stain the stonework, and especially if it's a porous stone, then we've probably all seen stone with sort of orange staining on it from metal fixings that either are or used to be there. So it's just important to be aware of those areas and dry the metal bits off as quickly as you can. So yeah, as with anything large and heavy, if you really can't move it out, like a sculpture or a bust or something like that, then you want to make sure that it's against a wall and protected in situ, covered, for example, with some polythene. So I'm getting a bit of a dry throat. So if the stone or the plaster does get wet, you want to blot gently with some paper towel, as we talked about earlier. And again, it's blotting, dab, don't rub, always dab, don't rub, very important rule. However, if it has an applied finish, so say the stone is painted, or more likely the plaster is painted, then you want to just allow it to air dry without any heat, because again, if you're dabbing that, when there's moisture on the surface, you're quite likely to lift that applied surface off. And the other thing you need to watch out for with stone is efflorescence. So that is soluble salts that are within the stonework and the capillaries of the stonework, that when moisture gets into the stone, that draws or leaches the salts out, and then when they reach the outside of the object and they start drying out, then that's when they crystallize on the surface. And if they start crystallizing on the surface, they might actually start crystallizing on the inside as well, and that can cause the object to burst or crack. So you've got to be aware of soluble salts as well. So that if you see kind of powdery crystals appearing on the surface, that's efflorescence. If the object is dry, then again, keep it dry, keep it with the dry things. Make sure that it's protected with Tyvek or acid-free tissue paper, and that it's labelled, and make sure that it's safe.